How would you like to make your first million? And today we have Derek Fredrickson joining from Paris, and he's the founder of the COO Solution. So, Derek, tell us what are the 5 steps you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Yeah, thank you, Harry. Happy to be here. So, I believe with my company, the COO Solution, I believe in frameworks. I believe in a methodology and approach to how to do things. So this question goes right in line with how I'm already thinking about how we do what we do. So my 5-step approach, I would say step number 1 is for the business owner, the entrepreneur, to identify where they are the bottleneck. Where are they stuck being involved in the day-to-day of running and scaling their business? That's step number 1. Step number 2 is define what only they should own. What are the CEO activities that they are best suited to perform in the business that are going to add the most value, the most ROI, the best result in the running of their company. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs think that they need to be the jack of all trades. They need to do everything, and that may have been the case in the beginning. But if you're looking to scale and grow to 7 figures, you need to realize what only you should own, and that usually is the vision, the bigger future, and the big idea. Where are we going? Not so much on where we are. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is build the trust infrastructure. So this is a trust-based infrastructure around systems, accountability, having the right people in the right seats. This is the playbook of how to run the company with a culture of accountability, so everybody in the organization can do things more efficiently, which means they can get things done quickly, and more effectively, so they can get things done at a higher level. That kind of raises the bar of how the entire organization is doing what they're doing, but also focused on how they're doing what they're doing, which is actually one of the keys to scale. So that's step number 3, is the trust infrastructure. Step number 4 is hire a second in command. It could be a COO, it could be an online business manager, somebody that is best suited and skilled and experienced in running the day-to-day of the company. Most founders aren't great at running the day-to-day. They're focused on the vision, they're focused on the future, they're focused on where are we going, not so much on the how we're going to get there, because the how we're going to get there are usually the things that business owners need, but they don't want to be the one to build, right? These are the systems, the structures, the processes, the SOPs, the playbook of how to actually scale and get to that 7-figure mark. And then step number 5 is then fully step into the CEO role. This is about stopping, no longer managing, but really more focused on leading and realizing what is the entrepreneurial zone of genius that they have in the business that's going to move the needle the most in the company. These are usually things that are focused on big relationships, big culture, big sales, big delivery, but not so much of the day-to-day, and allowing the CEO to fully step into the CEO and no longer being the operator of the business. So those are the 5 steps. Identify where you're the bottleneck, really define what only you should own, and delegate everything else. Build this trust infrastructure, accountability, systems, process, etc. Find and develop the right second in command that can be your trusted thought partner that can execute on your vision. And number 5 is really then fully step into the CEO role so you can lead and create that vision that you want. Those are the 5 steps that I have to get to 7 figures.
Make sure that the operation runs smoothly.
Exactly. That's the key. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a huge challenge because yeah, the CEO could be out there. I think that the role of the CEO is having this global vision where the company is heading. However,
Yeah.
implementing all that, especially make sure that the sales operation runs smoothly, which is very important key, but also the operation itself,
Yeah.
direct, because the other day we were talking about enterprise resource planning solutions, and there is a lot of people, even big companies, they say, well, we need more clients, you need more clients,
Yeah.
and they're spending a lot into the operation. So if they make the
Exactly.
operation more efficient, they don't need as much clients as they think they need, because they bring in more clients to an operation that is more expensive and is not running smoothly.
Yeah.
So it's like a sieve, right? You make a
Yeah.
big effort to bring those clients, but then it's
Yeah.
draining. So
Yeah.
one,
I was gonna say, I'll
go
share.
ahead, go ahead, go.
Here's what I've experienced in doing this work with founders and CEOs is that, their mindset. We do assessments and we profile the clients that we work with, and the entrepreneurial mindset is they love to start things. They don't necessarily love to finish things. They like to create things. They like to ideate. They like to see the bigger vision, but they don't like to be the one to land the plane, to develop the execution tasks that need to happen in order for that to take place. So oftentimes what happens is that you have a founder, an entrepreneur that goes like this. So imagine they're putting one foot on the gas, right? They want a 10x, they want a 2x, they want to exit, they want to sail, they want to just not work so damn hard in the business as much as they have been. So they're going like this, but also what happens subconsciously most of the time is they put the foot on the brake, because what they realize is that if they were to attract more clients, more sales, more revenue, it's going to fall on their shoulders because they don't have the operational structure in place in order to support that growth and scale. So they sometimes unknowingly sabotage the growth and scale because they want it, but they also realize that they don't have the systems and the foundation and the right people and the right seats in place in order to support that. So it ends up feeling like they're pushing the boulder of their business up the hill, which is not the way to grow and scale. You can do it. It just takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. But if they realize that there is a different way of bringing somebody in that is actually wired to run the business for them, where their zone of genius is the structure, the operations, the day to day, that's where you get really, really good momentum and traction.
Exactly, and it's a different type of person,
Yeah,
different type
exactly.
of wealth dynamic for Hamilton. It illustrates that you see, like for example, I don't know if you're aware, but the type of personality of Jeff Bezos, the Amazon,
Yeah,
is actually mechanical, which is operational.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, people that they're great on operation, system process. They design these. They are brilliant at this, and of course, this is a strength, right?
yeah, yeah,
Whether they see the other people, this other personality is the creator, right?
yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
creator. I'm always creating. Walt Disney, so the
Yeah,
creator never
yeah,
stop creating. It's always creating. So, but is it good?
yeah, yeah. This is
It's good to bring good ideas,
yeah,
but
yeah.
a creator leading an operation is not going to work, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the essence of what an entrepreneur is. I mean, I live in France, and so I've learned this, directly is that the basis of the word entrepreneur is French. It's entreprendre. And entreprendre means in French to initiate. It means to start something. So when the visionary, the CEO, the founder can be in that visionary box, they can be in that ideation and creation, that's where they add the most value. They may also like to do operations. They may also like to think in terms of systems and process, but they can't just live in the day to day. They need to live in the where are we going, not so much of what does it look
That
like
happened to
currently.
me, and that happened to me there because when we started the company, I'm a creator. Yeah, my business partner also, she's a creator, and then the first thing that we start to hire and in the office
Yeah,
was creator like us, because we
yeah,
are
yeah.
comfortable. We love creators. We are creators,
Like
and
attracts like. Yeah,
absolutely. So he was there at some point in the office, thousands of ideas, and nothing gets done.
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember that somebody said, Harry, actually, what we really need in this company is a doer.
Yes, exactly.
Ideas, we have hundreds.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but who's doing things here? Because you think nothing gets done, we're not gonna go. So I understand that concept, and then we had our operational manager. The name was Maria, and Maria was a doer.
yeah,
Nothing to do with nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with whatever. Is Maria? This is the task. This is the operation. Run it. Uh, and that thing was spotless.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't know. She took the whole chaos that we have in the office, and very quickly everything, everything started to get organized and to flow,
Yeah,
and it was spectacular, right?
every individual has what I call a zone of genius, right? And there's a zone of genius for the founder, which is to, like you said, have lots of ideas, right? They may come up with 10 ideas a day, kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall. But let's see what sticks. That's their zone of genius. So you have a lot of planes in the air flying around different ideas, which is great. That's the ideation, that's the creation, that's the exciting part of being an entrepreneur. But the grounding part is being able to land the plane. And that's where you have somebody whose zone of genius is to finish what people have started, to see the execution path. It doesn't mean to land all the planes because that stifles the ideation of the founder, the entrepreneur, but it's the trust, it's the faith, it's the confidence that there's somebody in the business that can land the plane and say, great, I can see the idea, but I can also see the plan. I can see the strategy. I can see the steps. I can see the right people that we need in order to get to that execution of that goal. So when you have that dynamic where you have the ideator and the one that's wired to finish things and create the plan, that's where you get really, really good momentum.
And the direct that the thing is that the entrepreneur, the initiator, the ideas, right? He
Yeah.
just out of the 500 million we interviewed in this podcast, nobody had come yet telling me, Harry, guess what? I have this idea about this
Yeah.
product and exactly how I design it. It works. I sell it and I become a millionaire. Nobody had told me this story yet.
No, no.
So you have the entrepreneur that tried the first product. If something is stake, then exactly you have to have to attach the operation to that, because
Yeah.
that this thing is stick is not enough.
Yeah.
Are you able to design a process that or supervise or a process that make it consistency, which is
Yeah.
something that have nothing to do with the creative part, right?
Yeah.
The entrepreneur is good because what we're talking about until you get to product market fit, which is this podcast, the main topic.
Yeah.
You have to try different things and you have to be in communication. And this is why the CEO and the CEO have to be direct in communication,
Correct. Right.
because he had to get the feedback from you. And this is the challenge that I will ask you a question, right? That we have sometimes the founders, okay, or the CEO, that they have that vision and the idea, okay. But then you guys, on the other hand, running the operation,
Mm-hmm.
you know what the clients want and what they're willing to pay for,
Mm-hmm.
because the operation will give you this data, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And in some point, the operation and the CEO, they need to align together and say, look, let's keep it tight, at least to make the first million to get the product market fit, right?
Yeah.
Because now this is a moment to keep it tight.
Yeah.
We already throw enough spaghetti.
Yeah.
We know what sticks, right?
Yeah.
And they sometimes they to try to. That's why they have to be in very good communication, because
Of course.
if the entrepreneur keep creating and creating, you can be into something good, and because the creator never thought to create, make it worse.
Yeah. I know.
That's what happened even in my own business, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah. You need.
sometimes when something works, we have to keep it tight, right? So
Yeah.
we try, but when something, and that is when you need a good operation, a good CEO,
Yeah.
to connect this is key.
Yeah,
Is
they're
key.
I call it, it's your strategic thought partner, right? So they can sit on the shoulder of the entrepreneur, not to stifle the idea, but to give space to create the idea, knowing that there's that execution engine that's available in the operation. So they are the ones that I often say, like your trusted thought partner. They can live in the strategy, they can live in the vision, but they're also thinking about it in terms of the day to day. What needs to happen?
Absolutely.
What's the plan? What's the execution? What does it really look
How
like?
much it's gonna cost? How much it's
Exactly.
gonna cost? Because you
Right.
gotta have the product, whatever. Yeah, but is it gonna eat the budget for marketing? How much is gonna cost this new idea?
Yeah.
Rarely we have this type of a stage job type, like, oh, we will create something and everybody will follow. Well, it works for him,
Yeah.
and maybe for 2 or 3 more, but the the whole dynamic of business itself is more about the CEO being and the COO being in a communication, and when the product is out there and actually stick and it works, keep it tight, and at least until you get your first million and you get to market fit.
Right.
After you can start to divide, and still it depends on the operation, sales, marketing, process, and also accounts and everything. So, Derek, tell us your story. Why you decided to become an entrepreneur and why you decided to have this business.
Yeah, so I didn't get started in entrepreneurship. Full disclosure, I was not, somebody that I kind of fell into entrepreneurship. I got started actually, my pre-entrepreneurial journey, if you will, was actually on Wall Street. I had kind of a corporate job. That was where I thought I was going to end up. But I actually left the day-to-day of my corporate job and then actually joined as the COO in my wife's business coaching company. She had reached her first 7 figures. This was back in 2008, and needed somebody to help kind of run the day-to-day, kind of create the structure of how we're going to continue to scale. So that's how I got started in the kind of operator COO world. And I had been doing that for the last, 16 years, running other people's companies, being the operator, the
wow.
kind of the one that, had the blueprint of how to scale a multiple 7-figure company. That's just kind of what I've been built out. But I wanted to do that more beyond just myself, because I was doing it fractional, like I was a fractional COO, and I could only do so much when it was just dependent upon me. So in 2024, I very deliberately took off the COO operator hat, put on the CEO visionary hat, and launched the COO Solution to provide fractional COO services that are for companies that are scaling at 7 to 8 figures. And right now,
done the role myself.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I've been CEO of a company, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I have the ability to see both. I get the operator mindset, but I also get the CEO kind of entrepreneur visionary mindset. And I think, like you were sharing, the part of the reason why I think this dynamic works really, really well, especially for companies that are at that 7-figure mark and especially beyond, is that a really good COO is going to, focus on what needs to happen to grow and scale. 2x, new revenue streams, new market opportunities. It's not just the what, but we focus even more so on the how they're doing what they're doing to grow and scale, because the how is the structure, the systems, the process, the right people in the right seats. It's all of these things that business owners, entrepreneurs, they don't jump out of bed in the morning and be like, I want to create more structure. I want more systems and process. It feels like it's a box. They don't want to live in a box. They want to be able to create, but they need the container to be able to have that foundation and those fundamentals in place so that we can look at things. I often say, like, we look at the hood, open up the hood of your business, right? What's working? Great. Why is that working? And let's do more of that. But let's also look at like what's not working, and no judgment, but why is that not working? Who owns the fact that that's not working? So there's a culture of accountability, and then be able to look at how do we fix it, update, change it, remove it, to do less of what's not working and more of what is working in order to grow and scale. And companies, founders, they usually don't have the time to think about it because they're so focused on like where we're going, right? That plane has already left the building, it's left the runway, but they need somebody to help land the plane that's going to move that forward. So it's a really key dynamic that CEO and COO partnership works really, really well.
And the COO also, Derek, you need to have a strong element of emotional intelligence, because you have to be able to connect with everyone, and which is not necessarily is a key that or maybe the CEO needs to have some emotional intelligence, but it won't define the role, but the COO because he had to connect and with everybody in the company, and he had to make sure that communicate effectively, to connect, to build relationships, and then you have in companies you have sales and marketing department, then you have the accounts department, then you have the supply and the product department, and then you have HR department, and you have to. And they all have different backgrounds, right? So you don't talk with an accountant with the same way that you talk with the marketing and sales, right?
Of course, right? They're all different. The COO,
and you have to connect with them.
The COO is like that. I often say they're like the air traffic controller, right? So they just don't look at operations. They're looking at marketing, sales, operations, and finance. And I always say they start with
the whole
marketing.
operation is
Yeah,
literally the whole operation,
the whole company.
the
Exactly.
whole
Exactly.
company.
Yeah. And they need to look at that in the perspective of, and I always start with marketing because I do feel that marketing's the driver. Without marketing, nothing else really exists,
I
right?
agree with you. I
Yeah.
agree with you. In that one, I'm rooting for you. Marketing and sales, especially if it's in a startup,
Yeah.
we need to. This one is the first one that we have to tune, right?
Yeah.
And we got to get involved directly in the company.
Yeah. But
Like I
the
said, that I don't
EQ,
do wrong.
yeah,
Yeah,
the EQ that you mentioned is huge because, yeah, I mean, we're talking about strategy, tactics, project management, SOPs, all the stuff that, yeah, it's needed. That's like the black and white. But then there's this softer component, right? Because at the end of the day, that COO needs to be able to be that trusted second in command to have those difficult conversations with the founder to help them kind of ideate what the vision is going to be. And they also need to be able to have those difficult conversations with different team members in different roles, right? So this is about elevating up how the business is operating. It's not just a matter of, I often say when we work with companies, we don't step into the company and like shake the tree of the business to get things to fall, right? That's not a recipe for success, but it's understanding under the hood, under the surface, what's working, what's not working, and being able to have those conversations with the people that are running the day to day. Like they're the ones that are the boots on the ground, and their perspective of what's working and what's not working is often very different from the perspective of the entrepreneur on what's working and what's not working. So the COO is often the bridge. They're like the glue between the vision and the execution and being able to weave in that softer side, right? That EQ component, not just, structure and project plans and deadlines and deliverables and everything else. It's both.
yeah. Like we're describing, the CEO, uh, clearly you are enrolled in the vision of the CEO of the company. Okay.
Yeah,
But now it's your task to enroll everybody else
of course.
on
Yeah,
that vision. It's not like you're not gonna go as a CEO and to the HR department and say, look, the CEO, the boss said that we have to do this, so this is what you have to do. It doesn't really work like this. So it's
yeah,
in order to have a not toxic environment, but to
yeah,
like I call it, in order to make sure that the operation runs smoothly.
yeah, yeah. Because oftentimes I
Everybody
think,
had to be enrolled. Everybody
yeah,
had to be enrolled, and
yeah,
it takes time.
yeah,
And sometimes, they don't know that you have to deal with the whole company. But if it's gonna take you half an hour more until you have that conversation with that department, and
yeah,
it takes different communication skills to run the different department because the background is different. But at
yeah,
the end of the day, if everybody's enrolled in the vision, in the conversation, then something interesting happened, which is something that I talk a lot about in podcast, Derek, which is the company's vertical formation, right?
mm,
Sometimes you see companies out there, they look like a big Titanic. Okay? It's a huge, and then if you need to turn right, it's so slow and so
yeah,
difficult that if the iceberg is in front of you, you're gonna hit it.
yeah,
However, if you enroll the different people into the organization, it looks like you have 3,000 little boats,
yeah, yeah,
and, and then
yeah,
you are in one little boat. But then if you said turn right because everybody's enrolled,
yeah,
everybody turn right, and then you can respond to change faster, especially when
yeah.
you have to pivot the problem. When we have to. So, any what is your message? Okay, intent to all the operational, all the CEOs out there, right?
Hmm.
So, what can be done to improve the response to change of the company? Because the
Yeah,
faster you respond to change,
yeah,
you can even be alive. I can tell you so many companies
of
that they
course.
couldn't respond to change fast,
Yeah,
and they are dinosaurs right now.
yeah.
So
I,
what can
I,
be done?
I think first and foremost, it starts with their mindset. It's a mindset shift for the founder, for the entrepreneur. They have to realize and accept the fact that they are not meant to be the ones running the day-to-day of their company. Maybe in the beginning, they needed to because it was a one-man show, and perhaps they brought on this team member to help with marketing and this team member to help with sales or customer service. That's fine. But what got you here is usually not going to get you there. And so it's a mindset shift that in order to change, they need to be willing to change. And some founders don't like the idea of change, right? When you bring in a true operator that's going to own the day to day, sometimes the founder likes to keep control, right? They like to keep all of the SOPs of how everything works in the company in their head, but you can't scale the how to of a company when it lives in the head of the founder. So they have to be willing and they have to be trusted to kind of relinquish control to the right team members in the right seat, but also with that second in command that can kind of orchestrate how we're going to get to where you want to go, right? When you bring in a COO or an operations person, this is not a transactional hire. This is a strategic leadership shift in how you're running and growing your company. And so the founder needs to be, the entrepreneur needs to be willing to embrace that and understand that they're no longer going to be doing what they've been doing to get to this point. I often say to a founder, you actually need to be doing less, like do less better. Less doing and more thinking, more in the visionary space, more ideation, more creation in terms of what you want that to look like. So it's a mindset shift because we just don't come in and be like, great, here's your scale formula and here's how it's going to happen, because they need to be able to embrace that, not just at the founder level, but also with the team. They need to see that, a rising tide is going to lift all boats and it's going to support them in what their day to day is. I'll give you an example. There's this expression that we share with clients all the time that, at a certain point, again, because the entrepreneur has no shortage of ideas, I call it drive-by delegation, right? So that it's like Monday morning in the office and they're like, hey team, I've got this great new idea. And they kind of throw it out to the team and like, I'm at a conference for the week. I'll be back on Friday. I can't wait to see how it goes. And everybody's left there like holding this idea. And they're like, so what of all of these other projects and tasks that I'm already doing, do you want me to put on pause to now take care of this idea? And this happens every single week. And you don't want, again, you don't want to stifle that, but you need to create a machine, an execution model so that there's the ability to not just delegate, but to then like orchestrate that as a system, as a process of how we do things to initiate projects, to achieve goals, to deliver objectives, etc. So it's a mindset shift first, I think, with the entrepreneur, and then the willingness to know that they need to kind of get out of their own way to let somebody else help them run their business in the way that maybe they're just not wired to run it because it's not their strong suit. It's not their zone of genius.
Then there, I tell you a story when we run our company. Okay, at the beginning, like I told you, we are creators, and then we start to bring the right people.
Yeah.
And of course, Maria, the operational manager, our operational manager, they were better than being operation. So turns out that when we brought people to the organization, before it was only me wearing all the hats, okay? But then when we increase the sales and we bring people to the organization, everybody was better than me and everything. The people that were doing
Yeah.
The people that were doing the set, they were better than me. The people that were doing the operation, they were better than me. They all were better than me, literally.
Yeah.
To the point that they sent me home. My manager, the operation, the CEO, the operation, the CEO sent me home. Told me, Harry, look, go home. You need to come here anymore. We can expand this company without you. Okay, I will go. And I remember the day that she told me this was my reaction. Really? You want me to go home? And who's gonna buy the paper and the photocopy? You tell me who's gonna do that.
Yeah.
And she told me, we can get our own paper and the photocopy. I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's concern you. Who's gonna? I'm sending you home, and you only worry is who's buying the paper for the photocopy.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I mean,
so then, then they look, become get it. Then I'm going home, right? And I'm feeling the first day a little bit strange. And the second day, wow, unbelievable that I put this up. But then Eva, she would come to see me once a month for half an hour, maximum 1 hour, to tell me what she was doing in the company. That's how good they were, right?
Yeah.
And Eva once a month, it started to come with a problem to me, which is said, Harry, we need more single rooms. It was a property business. I used to rent the
Yep.
houses and then rent the rooms individually from people from France. For example, if you go to
Yep.
London, it called landing services, though the student cannot afford the whole house, so they rent the room. So I was renting the big houses and the room individually, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then Eva was coming after they sent me home, and she comes with one problem only. Harry, we need more single rooms. And I'm telling Eva, I get it that you want more single rooms because, you know, every single house in the planet,
Yeah.
when you design it, you do only one single room that's supposed to be for the kids, maybe two. But you
Yeah.
don't design a house with 5 single rooms, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, there is a huge demand for single rooms. Number one, because it's cheaper. And number one, because there is a scarcity.
Yeah.
So of course that you're always gonna need single rooms, Eva. What do you want me to do? Okay, fine. So she goes.
Yeah.
Next month she comes. Harry, we need more single room. I'm like, oh my God. Again. Eva, look, second time. This is no, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. We have hundreds of people calling us for single room, and we don't have. We only have double rooms, and they don't want the double room. They want the single.
Yeah.
Derek. And that was the only problem I had to solve as a CEO. So that's what happened, you know, when she comes again and say, Eva, you know what? You want to get room? This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the big living rooms that they are big. I'm gonna bring the police filters and we're gonna divide it into,
Yeah.
and there you go. You're gonna have 2 single rooms,
Yeah.
right, in
There
the
you
same
go.
space. Bottom line, only that idea, Derek, we make 2 million.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
2 million only with the same thing, with the same
Yeah.
everything, with the same. But that was only possible because she was taking care of the operation.
Yeah. Of course.
She's bringing me only one problem that if I
Yeah.
solve that one, I have a month
Yeah.
to deal with that. The operation was taking care, the sales were doing, the acquisition was doing, the growth of the company was everything. It was a machine. They were doing it better than me, actually.
Yeah.
They
Yeah. Of
have better
course.
negotiation skills than me. They were
Yeah.
selling better than me. They were doing everything. So the whole operation, uh, it was running and the company was running. It was only that problem.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, and
It's a great
then
example. It's a great example. Yeah.
so like I tell you, and sometimes you see the CEO hands on in the business without realizing that, you know, you make sure that you have someone, the right person in the operation. Because if you have the right person running the operation and that runs smoothly,
Yeah.
when that problem comes, that could be that one, or could be pivoting the company, or could be, right? You need to be
Yeah.
fully 100% as the founder to pivot that. And if you're busy with things that you are not qualified, I was that you're not qualified to do, because that's the
Yeah.
truth. What I'm gonna take a role in my own company that I'm not qualified to do, if somebody can do it
Yeah.
better. I
Yeah.
was telling
This.
to everybody, I was so happy. I was telling to all London, you won't believe me, I have place. I was
Yeah.
telling all the people, you won't believe the same people that I have. Can you believe they rated faster than me and more expensive? I don't know. I was used to tell to my team, to my sales team, how you do it? Teach me how
Yeah.
you do this.
Yeah.
Because I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I did it for so long and I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I love that example. I mean, it's so true. This goes back to this kind of mindset shift. It's the identity of the entrepreneur, of the CEO, because in the beginning, like, listen, they're a jack of all trades. There are so many things that they could do, but at the end of the day, there's only a small handful of the things that they should do. And when they
At the
realize,
beginning, you have to do everything because you don't
yeah,
have resources and you don't have anybody. So at the
yeah,
beginning, but that, Derek, as soon as the company evolves and as soon as you increase your sales, and as soon as something is working, you have to realize that, well, maybe it's not a good idea that I wear all the hats.
yeah. And also it allows them, this is what we bring to the conversation, the difference between what you could do and what you should do. And when you focus on just what you should do, because that's your zone of genius, it's your strengths, it's the things that, are your the gifts that you can bring to the business. And when you look at that through the filter of what is the activity or activities that the entrepreneur can do that only they could do in the business, they're going to add the most value the ROI, return on investment, and the results, right? Just like if we were looking at another team member in the organization, say, if I bring in this person to do marketing, to do sales, I'm going to measure the output from a perspective through the filter of ROI, value, and results. We need to do the same thing with the CEO and realize that, yeah, they could be messing around in marketing, or they could be doing their bookkeeping, or they could be doing their customer service, but should they? Probably not, because if they focus more on the activities that they should be doing, what I call exponential growth activities, EGA, exponential growth activities, those are the things that only the founder can be doing, that they have the unique gifts and talents and energy for, that's actually going to move the business forward. And then you get a lot of other who to do the how, right? Like, as I say, like it's a who, not how scenario. Bring in the right who that can execute the how for operations, or the right who that can execute the finance function, as an example. So it's a really big, again, kind of mindset shift for the entrepreneur.
Derek, if someone is in love with this conversation, how people can find you, how the process works?
Yeah, people can find me through our website. It's thecoosolution.com. And again, we offer fractional, meaning part-time, COO, second in command operator services for companies that are scaling. There's a quiz on the website for somebody that might be listening or watching thinking, do I need a second command? Do I need a COO? It's a COO readiness quiz that might help your audience understand, okay, this is where I am. This is where I need to be. How am I going to get there? And yeah, it's a really helpful, and there's other resources there that I think can help your audience in terms of how to think about growing and scaling. So it's not just all on them. They can get the right person to be that partner with them.
I think it's a great product. Like I said, when I read the title of your company, the name of your company, I'm like, wow, I love the name. Because those ones that have done the role is a role that requires special skill set.
Yes, exactly.
And if it sounds easy, it's not easy. It's totally the opposite. It's allowed to let the company to expand. Well, you saw the example that.
Sure. Yeah.
I've been in both. I've been in the entrepreneurial and in the operational, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Now, as I'm getting old, I'm getting more to operational and less entrepreneurial.
Yeah. And listen, everybody
I
has
leave
their
the young people
path.
now to create. Now giving space to young people to create the products.
Yeah.
I make sure that I can help them with the operation. It's fine.
Yeah.
But this is something that requires a lot of, like I said, emotional intelligence, and
for sure.
It's a road that you need to have experience, right?
Yeah.
But to be if everybody's in the right place, will be a spectacular magic can happen to your company. So thank you so much.
Of course.
For being in the podcast, and for all of you following the podcast. See you in our next episode on Let's Talk About How Brave Entrepreneur like Derek break and achieve the first million.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.